and Mai were standing outside, in a testing field. Off to the side were some employees, with some equipment. Alright, today we'll be figuring out how exactly your quirk works, Mai said. Now then, how did you do that teleporting thing you did with Ms. Maria? I have no idea, Lu answered honestly. Okay, think back to what you felt. Quirks are often first used on instinct. So go back to that memory. Mai told him. Lu closed his eyes and thought back. He and Maria were running. They didn't have any idea what was happening. All they knew was that they heard gunshots, and they needed to leave. He didn't know where. Just anywhere other than there. Shwoop. For a split second, he felt his body be entirely wrapped in some kind of warmth before everything went back to normal. Lu opened his eyes and found that he was now a few yards away from where he was before. Alright, you did it. Mai shouted, giving the kid a short applause. Did you mean to teleport there, or was it just kind of random? Lu didn't answer. Instead, he just focused on the spot a few feet in front of him. Shwoop. In another flash of light, Lu teleported a few feet over. So you can control it, Mai said. Nice. So how'd you do it? I just wanted to go somewhere, and I did, Lu said, before getting an idea. Shwoop. Once again, Lu was gone, but this time, he was nowhere in sight. Huh. Mai looked around, not seeing Lu anywhere. She looked over to the other scientists. Where did he go? He's not anywhere close to the lab. One of the female scientists said, looking at the devices. But ma'am, his inhibitor rings dash. Shwoop. In a flash, he was back, right next to Mai. Ow, Lu hissed, as he looked down at his inhibitor rings, which were glowing a bit. These things are burning me. How do I take them off? Where did you go? Mai asked urgently, as she took a look at his rings. My room, Lu admitted. The heat around his wrist was lessening, as the rings cooled down slightly. Mid-range teleportation, Mai noted. Ma'am, the rings were straining to deal with the chaos energy exuded by the teleportation. One of the scientists said. They're back at a safe level, but too much use of mid-range teleportation could cause the rings to break. I keep hearing about these rings. What the heck do they do? Lu asked grumpily. Well, you suffer from a rare disorder that causes your chaos energy to leak from your body, like a broken pipe, causing exhaustion and strain on your body, Mai explained. The inhibitor rings basically magnetize your body a bit, to keep that energy from escaping more than it should. So that's why I'm not as tired, Lu said, smiling a bit. Guess the doctor's experiments finally worked. However, chaos energy is naturally expelled whenever you use your quirk, Mai continued. But the more the chaos energy you expel at once, the more trouble the rings have regulating. In other words, while the rings do keep you from being exhausted, they put a limit on your overall power. Well, that sucks. Lu scowled, before easing into a sigh. Ah well. Better than being stuck in bed all day. Right. Well, now we know that mid-range teleportation is a bit much. I'd recommend not doing it any more than twice in a row, Mai advised. But let's take a break, and then test out how much short-range teleportation the rings can handle. In the end, Lu could manage to use his short-range teleportation around 30 times in a row before having to take another break to make sure his inhibitor rings didn't explode. Are we done here? Lu asked as he sat down and drank an energy drink. We can finish up for today if you want, Mai said with a sympathetic smile. But before you go, there's something I need to tell you. The way your quirk works is nothing like anything we've seen before. Normally a quirk works by utilizing impure chaos energy. But your quirk gives off pure chaos energy. And when you use your quirk, some of that energy turns into impure chaos energy. And that means? Lu asked, not having a clue what any of that meant. It means your quirk might be able to do more than just teleporting. Mai took a pause, as she tried to figure out how to explain it. Think of pure chaos energy like a block of metal. You can make anything out of it, its potential is endless. And think of impure chaos energy as a metal tool. It's more useful for doing a specific thing, but it can only do that thing. Most people are like a shovel or a rake. But for you, could potentially be a Swiss Army knife. Or maybe even more than that. Lu felt a few things at hearing that. Excitement, frustration, confusion, and curiosity. So how do I figure out what it can do? I have no idea. Mai sighed. As I said, there's never been a quirk like yours before. The closest was a quirk that produced pure chaos energy, but it didn't work like yours. I told you earlier that quirks are often first used by instinct. So you'll probably figure it out by yourself. Still, if there are any new developments with your quirk, then tell me about them. It could help me figure out how it works, and what else you can do. Alright. Lu agreed. Later. Wait, one more thing. Mai added. Ugh. What now? Lu asked, getting annoyed by all this extra stuff. Next time say all this before you say I can leave. Yeah, my bad. Mai chuckled before getting onto her point. We have to give your quirk a name. A name? Lu asked with a questioning squint. As if asking if that was a joke. All quirks have names. It's a legal thing, so even if you think it's weird, it's necessary. Mai said. If you'd like I could think of a name for you? How about, Chaos Control? Lu pondered that. Well, at least it sounds cool. Fine. Is that it? Yup, you're good to go, Mai said. Do you want someone to escort you via snap? Sup. With the snap of his fingers, Lu teleported away. Mai sighed. I have a feeling that kid's gonna do something reckless. Sup. In a flash, Lu was back at the Midoriya Foundation building, but instead of his room, this time he teleported to the training room. Lu looked down at his inhibitor rings. Since he'd only done a mid-range teleport once, they were only a bit warm. Alright, let's see what these superpowers can do, Lu said to himself. He raised his hand up to the metal wall and closed his eyes. He imagined energy welling up in his palm and blasting out at the wall. Phew! Lu felt a warmth come out of his hand, and opened his eyes, to see the wall in front of him giving off a bit of smoke. Phew! He tried again, and this time he saw a blue energy bullet blast out of his hand, and into the wall. A huge smirk crept up on his face, and he knew what he had to do next. Phew! 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 Lu repeated what he'd done before, but this time he put more power into it, causing dozens of small energy shots to explode off his hand all at once, hitting the opposite wall all over. They're like a rain of laser arrows, Lu noted, as suddenly an idea came to him. Chaos arrows. Oh yeah, that was an anime special attack name. Chaos arrows. Lu shouted out, as he unleashed another volley of energy arrows onto the wall. Poof. Lu smirked cockily before another thought occurred to him. Practicing on a wall isn't really satisfying. Wonder if there's a training dummy around. Chaos arrows. Lu shouted as he let out another volley of chaos arrows, this time onto a dummy he'd found. The arrows laid into the dummy and the wall behind it, knocking over the dummy easily. Alright. Lu fist pumped the air, before he teleported over to the dummy, to see how much damage he did to the foam dummy, only to be disappointed. Aside from a few light burn marks, the dummy was pretty much unharmed. Lu frowned. Guess the arrows aren't really that strong. With another idea in mind, Lu propped the dummy back up and teleported back to his place. Lu held up his arm and imagined charging up energy in his hand. Yellow energy appeared in Li's hand, quickly growing bigger and bigger until it was twice the size of his hand. Phew! Lu released the energy, and it slammed into the foam dummy, knocking it down again, and taking a chunk out of its shoulder. Ha! Nice! Lu celebrated, before immediately taking aim at the fallen dummy. Phew! 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 This time, Lu fired 3 yellow shots in a row, taking a few seconds to charge each one before launching it. Lu got another idea. He brought his hands together, and then, he began charging 3 balls of energy at once. Phew! All 3 energy shots launched out at the same time, which smacked into the already damaged fallen dummy. Lu smirked, before charging 7 energy balls at once. Chaos Sphere. Phew! The 7 shots launched at the heavily damaged dummy, destroying it even further. Oh yeah, now I'm getting the hang of this, Lu smirked. Hey you, fight me, Lu said to Kiba. Kiba was currently chowing down on a steak in the cafeteria, along with everyone else. After my meal. And only if I can live stream it on YouTube. It's been over 200 years and you're still using YouTube? Lu asked, baffled. Yup, Kiba confirmed. Do we have a deal? Sure, Lu said. Just don't get upset when you lose. As if I'm going to lose to a guy who just figured out he had a quirk, Kiba stated confidently. Welcome back my loyal minions, Kiba said to her camera, as she and Lu stood outside in the forest. Today I bring you another glorious fight. This time between myself, the Queen of Eternal Darkness, and a newbie who arrived recently. State your name, challenger. I am Laban Ultimative. Here to kick your ass. Lu said confidently, striking a arms crossed cool kid pose. Wait, I thought you said you were Chinese? Kiba asked. I never said that. I said I came here from China, I never said I was Chinese. Lu explained with a scoff. I'm German. Or at least my parents were, I don't remember being there much. Oh. Well, it doesn't really matter. Kiba shrugged. Now let's get on to the fight. I wonder what the new kid can do. Nothing compared to Lady Kiba. Kick his butt, Lady Kiba. Kiba and Lu took their positions opposite each other. Lu took a deep breath. Chaos boost. Suddenly a red aura overtook Lu, surging throughout his body. What's that? Kiba asked, looking a bit confused. I thought you could teleport? Humph. I can do a lot of things. Lu said cockily. Chaos boost increases my body's power, making me stronger, faster, and tougher. Oh neat. That I can really punch you. Kiba smirked, before cracking her knuckles. This is gonna be fun. You ready? Ready, Lu said. Since you're new, I'll let you strike first, Kiba said, opening her arms. Underestimating me? You'll regret that, Lu said. Sup. Lu teleported in front of Kiba and delivered a powerful blow to her face. Pow! Kiba's head turned to the side, however much to Lee's surprise, she stood her ground and seemed mostly unfazed. She turned her head back to Lu. Well, credit where credit is due. That actually hurt. Slam! In an instant Kiba punched Lu in the chest, sending him flying back, slamming through a tree. Lu landed on his back and had to take a second to register the incredible pain he was in. I think I made a mistake. Then he noticed a shadow looming over him, and looked up to see Kiba, hurtling down toward him. Crash! Lu just managed to teleport away, just before Kiba slammed into the ground, creating a small crater from the impact. The black-haired boy appeared in a nearby tree, where he could take a moment to just breathe, and contemplate his next actions. Alright, so she's stronger than I thought. No big deal. I can handle that. What's wrong? Too scared to face me? Kiba taunted. In response, Lu teleported behind her, grabbed the back of her head, and then teleported them miles into the air. Oh, Kiba said, as she realized she'd let her guard down. Lu let go of Kiba, and teleported back to the ground, directly under her. He pointed his arm up at Kiba and charged up a red blast. Meanwhile, all Kiba could do was brace for impact. Chaos Lance! Lu called, as he unleashed a big red blast at Kiba. Kiba could faintly see a red light getting closer and closer, until she realized it was an attack. Dash. Kaboom! The attack landed, creating a huge explosion in the air. Slam! And to add to it all, Kiba then slammed hard into the ground, making an even bigger crater than the one she made before. Kiba laid face down in the dirt, her body covered in wounds and blood. Lu had teleported away before Kiba landed, so he teleported back, and stood proudly in front of her. Had enough? And that's when Kiba's hand shot out and grabbed his leg. Not at all. Kiba then jumped up, and lifted Lu into the air, before slamming him into the ground. Ack! Spit flew out of Lee's mouth, as the air was knocked out of him. Slam! 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 Kiba started smashing Lu into the ground repeatedly, lifting him up and slamming him down like a human hammer. Sup! Eventually, Lu managed to get over the pain long enough to teleport them back into the air. However, this time, Kiba still had a grip on him, so he couldn't teleport away by himself this time. So Kiba pushed him in front of her, as they started hurtling toward the ground. It's now or never, Lu thought. Boom! Suddenly, energy bursts out of Lee's feet, like jets from a rocket, and they rocketed forward. What the? Kiba cried as they went flying through the air wildly, as Lu had no idea how to really control his foot rockets. They went up, down, left, right, in loops, in circles, they flew everywhere with no control whatsoever. Slow down, Kiba shouted as she got dizzier and dizzier. I'm gonna puke. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX Maria standing opposite to him. I honestly don't know of any words that could describe what I went through today, Maria said. In a good way or a bad way? Izuku asked, not at all surprised by that answer. I have no idea, but the pay is worth it, plus I don't really have any other options. Maria sighed. Yeah. Well, on the bright side, you get a day off tomorrow, kind of. Izuku revealed. I'll have you go with Sai into the city, to try and find more people to do your job. I don't want you getting overwhelmed, and I'd also like you to see the city for the first time. I see, thank your generosity, Maria said, doing a short bow. Seriously, without you, I might have died already. No problem, Izuku said with a smile. Also, when I say to find people, I mean so in the most random manner possible. Excuse me? Maria asked, not quite understanding what the hell that meant. Hiring people normally is not really a good option, due to all the organizations after my head. So I typically hire people in abnormal ways. Izuku explained. I hired Sori after she broke onto my property, caused a panic, and destroyed a good chunk of my security before she revealed she was here for a job. The fact that doesn't surprise me as much as it should, and that is worrying, Maria said. Get used to the unexpected, Izuku told her. And you'll find your time here to be a lot more pleasant. Crash! Suddenly, Lu and Kiba came crashing through the roof, and landed on Izuku's desk, destroying it and bringing them to a halt. Ow wow wow. Both kids groaned in pain, as they lay on the pile of broken wood. Maria obviously jumped back in shock, her hand over her mouth as she was currently too shocked to move. Izuku on the other hand, didn't so much as flinch, before pulling out his phone. Hey, Chol, get someone in my office to take Lu and Kiba to the infirmary. Also call the Urarakas and get one of my spare desks out of storage. Thank you.